Welcome to today's episode where we're talking all things human design. So, we have officially entered into phase 2 of the Path of the Empress, which is the abundance initiations. In the last episode, I talked about how we're going to start with the Empress activation, and then the call that we have, the live ceremony that we have on February 6th, upcoming, is going to be all about eating by design, knowing about your cognition, and how your body makes decisions through the lens of human design. So, eating by design is the first of 4 transformations. It's the only thing you need to focus on for the first 30 years of your life. And this is not an educational podcast episode. I'm not going to go into what your determination is. Please don't use ChatGPT to look this shit up because it doesn't know what the fuck it's talking about. Sam Zagar, go look at her, go scroll through her Instagram and look for determination. She has the best information. It's from sourced material. I've trained with her for 22 weeks. I did an advanced session with her. She's one of the only people that I trust with human design, to be honest. And I'm very particular with that because so many people out there are teaching from an unembodied place. And so I am here on this episode to share stories around this because you can learn through me, you can learn through the Empress Sanctuary. That's where you're going to actually dive into it. But I want to show you how this massively benefits your life. This is all about digestion. It's all about the health of your brain. You need to eat the right food, or you need to be in the right environment to digest food, information, and I believe people, but that's something we're experimenting with. I haven't particularly learned that anywhere. It's just intuitive. And so with your brain, you either have a passive brain like me or an active brain. If it's pretty simple. If you have an active brain, you need consistent calories for the health of your brain. You're probably going to be more of a morning person. When you wake up, your brain's like high-speed Google Fiber, and you instantly have access to your brain. If you're a passive brain like me, your brain's like dial up in the morning. You probably sleep late. You don't need as many calories for the health of your brain. Fasting is really great for you, and you don't need a lot. You don't need to consume a lot. Now, let me tell you how this showed up in my life very early on. And this is why this phases 3 and 4 of the Empress Sanctuary, when we really dive into embody your design, we're just touching on it now because this is so fucking important that I had to include it early on this 11-month journey because I want you eating by design as quick as possible. And this is huge if you're a parent. If you're a parent, all you really need to know is what your kid's strategy is, their authority, and how to feed them for the health of their brain. So all of my family are active brain people. So they're morning people. They need calories. They're like consistent grazers. They need consistent calories for the health of their brain. I don't. So I got like demonized because I slept late. And I got demonized because my brain wasn't fucking there in the morning. And I overate. When I'm eating with my sister and my mom, they're like, they just eat so fast. And I eat so slow. It takes me like 30, 40 minutes to eat my food now because I'm slowly eating and I'm listening to my body and I'm putting myself in the right environment to digest the food. Before I learned about this, I was doing the 30-30-30 method. And the 30-30-30 method is within 30 minutes of waking up, you eat 30 grams of protein and you go on a 30-minute walk. So I started doing that. And I started getting brain fog. I started gaining weight. I started feeling sluggish. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this makes logical sense to me. I used to be a personal trainer. Makes logical sense. It was a pretty big influencer. I can't remember who that I learned it from. And so I was like, what the fuck is going on here? This is why it's really important to know your determination and your brain whenever you're trying to lose weight or get into fitness, because a lot of fitness influencers are teaching their method that is more than likely in alignment with their determination. I know a very famous carnivore influencer, and I happen to know his human design because we met on Hinge and we talked about dating, and he has executive appetite, which means he only needs to eat single ingredients. Eat the steak first and then eat the potatoes that have just literally mashed potatoes. Single ingredients is what these people, it's the most primal way to eat. It's probably the most, I think it would actually be great if I had it. I eat pretty similar to that myself. Mine's a second up from that. which I'll talk about in a second. But this guy is teaching carnivore diet, which is really good for him, but it may not be correct for other people. And so it is very interesting when you see this. So when I learned I had a passive brain and fasting was really good for me, I stopped eating 30 grams of protein immediately when I woke up. I still did the walk within 30 minutes, but I stopped eating the protein. I stopped eating until I don't eat until like 3 to 5. It just depends on when I'm hungry. It's very intuitive. It's like, oh, my stomach's growling. Okay, cool. It's time to eat. And so I just listen to my body now. Guess what? Within 2 weeks, brain fog went away, started losing weight, stopped feeling sluggish. Results happened quickly. I just had a woman who's active brain and she was fasting. I was like, girl, that's not healthy for you. And so I was like, in the morning, this is where experimentation comes in. And obviously, we're going to dive deep in the call, the live call this upcoming Friday on February 6th. And so we will dive deep into that. If you want to learn, go join the Empress Sanctuary. So it's very potent. And with this, you see results quickly. And also, this is unconscious. So you might not like your determination. I didn't like my environment, which I'll get into in another episode, but I didn't like it. But I committed to experimenting with it and I saw results pretty damn quickly. So it doesn't matter if you like it or not, it's experimenting. And I'm always 80-20. I'm always trying to figure out faster, easier, more efficient ways to do things that make sense in the real world, because sometimes things with human design don't really make sense in the real world. So, as best as you can, following this and then giving yourself grace the rest of the time. So when I learned about my determination, I have closed taste determination. I don't have to try something. Like, I just know what I like. I'm pretty basic. I eat the same things over and over and over. I'm the type of person where if I try something once at a restaurant, I'm probably never going to try anything else, because a lot of times I will try something else and I don't need to try it. I've already tried something. I know that I like it. Why would I try something else because I might not like it? That's closed taste. And it's very particular. I also feel like closed taste shows up for me with people. There was one time I was at this event and they played some Queen song, and I'm not a really huge fan of Queen, and I'm very much in my body. And so I'm just standing there and I'm kind of like moving, and everyone else is freaking out. And the facilitator comes and grabs me and pulls me into the center of the dance circle. And I smile and I dance for a second, and then I move my way back to where I was standing. I didn't need to try that. I didn't need to experience it. I was closed to that. I didn't want to do that. I don't fucking like Queen. My body's not responding. I don't need to try it. I'm good. But I feel like that guy could have been like, oh, you are not, you're succumbing to your limited belief, or you need to be forced to do something, or blah, blah, blah. So this is why when you understand human design, you can be more accepting to other people and just let them do their own thing. And so this is something I'm experimenting with. When you're digesting, when your body's taking in something, it's best to be in your determination. And half of them have to do with the actual ingredients that you're taking in, and the other half have to do with the environment that you're in. So it's not necessarily the ingredients. It depends on what your determination is. And obviously, inside of the Empress Sanctuary, on the live call that's coming up February 6th, we'll be diving even deeper in how to use this for your business, how to use it for your personal life, how to use it in all areas. Then, when you are eating by design, when you're honoring your active or passive brain, when you're eating by design, whenever you're taking in information or people or whatever, then your cognition turns on. Your cognition is like a sixth sense. It only turns on when you're eating by design. So I have feeling cognition. Ooh, this has been a big one. So I'm clairaudient. And when I learned what that meant, I was like, oh, not everyone hears voices in their brain all the time. Interesting. I wonder what that's like. I learned that I was clairaudient pretty quickly. And then when I learned about my feeling cognition, it's all about hearing, and it's all about the frequency of someone's voice. I can tell when people are lying to me instantly because of the frequency. I pick up on it. I can tell when something's going on. I can tell, and I'm pretty damn correct with most of it. And so hearing someone's voice is very important to me. I'll tell you a story about dating. So I had a rule with dating that I will not go on a date with you unless I've heard your voice, because it takes 40 minutes for me to get anywhere in Austin. It's a lot of time and commitment. And I need to hear your voice before I say yes to you, because, and I didn't even put the feeling cognition together until I really deep dived into it. So there was one time I went on a date with a guy and I didn't hear his voice first. I was like, okay, I'll make a spontaneous decision. And as soon as he heard his voice, I was like, this will never work. I just knew. I knew that it wasn't to match. And then there was another time, same thing. I didn't ask for him to send me a voice note. And as soon as I heard his voice and I gave him a hug, I knew that he was not my person for me and I wasn't interested. And also, I had a great date. It was great. I'm glad that it happened. I learned, stop fucking overriding yourself. Like, this is a non-negotiable. So I literally added it to my Hinge profile before I deleted it. I have to hear your voice before I will go on a date with you. Also, I have to hear your voice before I'll work with you. There was one time where I was in scarcity mode and I was having a conversation with this woman and I knew that it wasn't to match, but I needed the money. And so she booked a session and it was probably one of the hardest sessions that I've done because it wasn't in alignment. My body knew that we weren't a match. I think I triggered the fuck out of her and she triggered the fuck out of me. And it's all perfectly orchestrated, but I learned, I knew. We all have those moments where we say yes to something, but we know it's not into an alignment with us. And that's when this is so important. So your cognition supports your authority, which is your decision-making mechanism. So they all run together. That's why we're going in a deep dive. This is going to be a very deep call. All of the other calls are not as deep, but this one we'll be diving to the depths with this one. I've already taught this before, but I'm a completely different person than when I taught it the last time earlier this year or last year, in 2025. And so I'm really excited to dive into this and to have everyone experiment with it because it's so powerful to be able to trust yourself. And that's what the authority, we'll wrap this up with your authority. Your authority is your decision-making mechanism. I have a free masterclass on this. I will drop it below. You can go and find out exactly what your authority is. And then we're deep diving in the Empress Sanctuary. So join the Empress Sanctuary if you want to be held and supported, especially around your human design. And one of the things, the unique things about the Empress Sanctuary is I know every single member's human design. So in the group chat, if you ask a question and I think it has to do with your design, I will look up your chart before I answer your question. I'll answer your question in a way that benefits you individually and also in a way that benefits the group as a whole. And so it's like you got me in your back pocket for any and all questions with human design. You get me for questions on the live call and then in between the calls as we're going through the experimentation, as we're going through the implementation of the information that we learned in the previous live call. So go to the masterclass to learn about your authority, but fuck, I have a sacral authority. This has been one of the greatest gifts that I could have in my life, to trust myself, to trust my body, even when my brain is screaming no. And believe me, it screams all of the fucking time. And my brain's like, no. We're going to a 3-day rave? No. A week after ayahuasca? Fuck no. My body's like, yes. We're going to a 3-day dance festival by yourself where you don't know anyone? Yeah, let's do that. My brain's like, fuck no. What are we doing? I'm an introvert. I don't like leaving my house. Why are we doing this? Can you see how powerful that is? I don't give a fuck what my brain says. I trust my body. I literally told my sister the other day, I was like, I would jump into a cavern if my body told me so. And she's like, I really hope you don't do that. I was like, well, I'm pretty sure my body's not going to tell me to just jump into a cavern. But if it did, I would. That is how dedicated I am to listening to my body as much as I can. I get out of alignment like all of us. I'm not perfect. And so what I learned, if it's not hell yes, it's a hell no, never going to be a hell maybe. Game changer. I used to be the girl who said yes to everything. And then the event would come up and I'd cancel last minute because I was like, that's actually no. And so I've gotten used to this. Now, I was actually talking to someone the other day and I told them if I let people know how to be my friend, and I let people, when I'm in the new stages of friendship, I let them know, hey, I'm a selfish person. I put myself first. I'm the most important relationship in my life. I put myself first above all others, not at the detriment of other people. Okay. I'm not pushing other people out of the way, but I honor myself first above everyone else. And and so dang, what was I talking? Oh, when I'm making new friends, I let them know I have a sacral authority. I often ask, what's the last possible moment I can say yes to this? Because it doesn't feel like 100% hell yes right now, but it's a maybe. And when it's a maybe, it generally means, okay, I'm at like 80%. That's how I use it. I'm at 80%. I either need more information or I need more time, or it's not for now, but it's for later. Get back to me in a week. Give me something to respond to. Generator types, generators, manigens, we make decisions in response to the life that is presenting itself in this moment right now. To make a decision in the future, if I just thought of this, if you think about it, in caveman days, they didn't have a calendar, that they didn't have time, right? It's like they know, oh, I just met you. Oh, you want to hang out now? Okay, yes. Okay, cool. No, well, I don't know when I'm going to see you again, so I'll just wait to make that decision when I see you. Like, it's kind of a weird thing that we have to plan, you know, a week or two or three or four ahead. And I know like certain things like weddings and whatever, like obviously you gotta agree maybe before you're ready. But 80-20 experimentation is what I'm all about. So when I learned about if I don't have 100% energy, that's a no. If I got 95% energy, that's a no. If I got 99% energy, that's a no. If I have 100% energy, let's fucking go. And so it's learning that difference. And it's also learning how to say no. I say no all the time. And I thank people for saying no. I say, thank you so much for saying no. I know how hard that is. And I'm trust that you're honoring your body. And so hell freaking yes. There was one time where I'll give you some examples of how I've used my sacral authority. So remember, you're eating by design. Your brain is in good health. You're eating by design. You're watching how you're digesting food, people, information, and you're feeling into your cognition. You have the access to your cognition because you're doing all the things in order. Then you have a decision to make. So one day I was at a networking event and this woman that I barely knew came and said, hey, can you give me a ride home? And I said, sure. If you hear me saying maybe or sure, that's probably a no. And I said, sure, because I'm a recovering people pleaser. And instantly I felt frustration bubble up inside of me. And I was like, actually, no, I'm sorry, I can't. And I gave some excuse. And she looked at me like kind of frustrated. I was like, lady, I don't know you. And my body's a no. And so I took it back. I said yes. And then I said, never mind, I take that back. And it felt really good because I know I would have been fucking pissed if I would have taken her home. I didn't want to, but I felt pressured to. I felt obligated to. I felt people like, oh, I can't say no to you. That's rude. No, it's not when you're honoring your body. Now, I will say there's caveats here. I know people use this shit as excuses. My sacral says no. I know a lot of people who don't know what the fuck they're talking about and they don't know how their body is fucking speaking to them. I literally know human design people who are a year or two into it and they still don't know. It took me a year plus. I'm still learning how my sacral talks to me. So just because you know the information doesn't mean shit. You have to embody it. And it takes time, especially if you have not been listening to your body the majority of your life. So please don't use this as an excuse. I mean, you do you, but it's not to be used as an excuse. It's to be used in authenticity and genuine responding and knowing what do I have energy for and what do I not have energy for. So two situations of how this can, two stories about how this can work. First, I was on a call with my friend and she was going on a vision quest. I was like, ooh, that sounds fun. And she was telling me about it. My energy was raising and raising and raising and raising. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Had I booked it right then, I felt excited, but it wasn't 100%. Had I booked that right then, it would have been out of alignment, 1000%. So I was like, ooh, cool, cool, cool. Give me the information. got the information. It went from 80% to 0. And I was like, nah, that's not for me. And so this is where you need more information. I'm feeling excited, but I'm not 100%. I don't have all of the juice. So more information, more time, more to respond to. Waiting to respond with the 100% juice. So then there's another story where I'm on a plane. I think I was going to ayahuasca, and someone sent me a swipe post, and it was a beautiful post. It was talking about how STDs are not transmitted. They are a product of a psychological conflict. Now, back in 2017, I tested positive for HSV2, aka genital herpes. I'll be talking more about that in future episodes when we go into the shame, reclamation, initiation in phase 2 of the abundance initiations. And so I was on a mission to heal it, and I publicly had been talking about it forever. And some lady sent it to me, and I barely knew her. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. So I'm going through this swipe post. My body is like, yes, yes, yes. I'm reading his caption. Yes, yes, 100% energy. I'm flying. I'm about to lose Wi-Fi. I'm scrambling to get my credit card to book a session with this guy. And finally, I did it right before I lost Wi-Fi. I didn't know, like, or trust him. I just knew this is what I want. He said the words, he shared the things, he gave me something to respond to, and I said, take my money. So, from a business standpoint, 30% of the population have a sacral authority, which means they can buy like that. They don't need to know, like, and trust you. I literally just invested the most money of my life in one person. And I didn't know, like, or trust him. I saw one Facebook post. I went to one event and spent like 20 minutes hands-on work with him. And then I invested a lot of money that I'll tell the whole story. But anyways, I didn't know, like, or trust him, but my body was a hell fucking yes, even though my brain was screaming, this is irresponsible. What the fuck are you doing? I did it anyways. One of the best, most initiating decisions of my life. So yes, I feel like the know, like, and trust on social media, and when people talk about strategies and whatever, they're like, oh, people need to see you, 6 to 7 times before they buy. I think through the lens of human design and a sacral authority, that's like giving you more to respond to. It's like maybe in the initial, you're like, oh, interesting. I followed people for years before I opted into them because I liked who they were, but they didn't have anything I wanted. And so when you talk about your offers over and over and over and over and over, you're giving people something to respond to. I literally have women who have joined, 2 women joined my abundance journey initiation experience in 2025. They'd both been following me for years and they never opted in until that moment. And so, yes, people don't need to know, like, and trust you. If they trust their bodies, they can opt in like that. Splenic authorities, which are about 10% of the population, so 40% of the population can instantly buy, which is so cool because it can give you that freedom to trust that the right people are going to find me. 2 of the members in the Empress sanctuary, they found me, and then I sent them a voice note, and then they opted in. They literally followed me, and within 24 hours they opted into my community. And so I share this because this is why human design is so important. This is why understanding how other people operate is so important. Human generators and manigens have to make decisions in response. And so giving them an open-ended question like, what do you want for dinner? I'm like, I don't fucking know, bro. And then if you're like, do you want a burger? Yeah. Do you want a kale salad? No. And so we make this that give your people things to respond to constantly, because when it's in alignment, my body whips out my credit card, and next thing I know, I'm somewhere. Like one time I had an Akashic Records reading. My guides told me to go to the ocean. And I was like, okay, God, if you want me to go to the ocean, you got to make it happen. I'm not going to try to do anything. And then a guy that I barely knew, that I never met in person, we'd been Facebook friends for like 10 years. And I told 2 of my friends, I was like, he's going to reach out to me and he's going to invite me to Puerto Rico. And I told them within 24 hours, he randomly reaches out. I'm like, no fucking way. I was just thinking about you. And I was like, I need to go to the ocean. And he was like, well, come visit me. You can stay here. And I was like, oh my God. Then I looked up flights. They were super cheap. And next thing I know, within 24 hours, I'm booking a flight to go stay with a dude that I've never met for 5 days. And it was a very beautiful, magical experience. But that is what it's like. And also, if you can't tell, human design makes life way more adventurous. My life has been so fucking adventurous since I have learned about human design and since 2020. I if if you would have told me back then, like I'm sure if I told my ex, if my ex knew about all of the things that I've done since we were together, he would probably be like, "Who the fuck are you? Like who were you when we were together?" Because I'm so fucking different. Like so I can't even remember who I was back then. And so adventurous life is what we all want. But then your ego wants to keep you stuck in the familiar, stuck in the boring, stuck in the grayscale. So there is this, potential fear. This is why not everyone's on an awakening journey. This is why not everyone's learning about human design, because it's not fucking easy to go against your brain and do it anyways. It's not fucking easy to face your fear and do it anyways. It's not fucking easy to let go of identities and let go of friendships and let go of things that don't serve you anymore. It's not fucking easy to go on a fucking adventure. You think about Lord of the Rings. That was the first fantasy novel that I ever read. And The Hobbit actually was the first one. And they went on an epic adventure. They're getting chased by orcs. They're going through Gollum. Like they're about to die every chapter. And we love it. That's what we want. That's what we came here to do, is to experience the totality of life, which includes pain and fucking pleasure. And you cannot know pleasure until you've known the same depth of pain, because they're on the same fucking scale. And so this is why human design is so potent. And this is why I created a magical world called the Empress Sanctuary for women on their awakening journey who want to come home to themselves and increase their capacity to receive what they desire. Because if you don't have what you desire right now, it might be because you can't hold it. And we embody our human design. We activate prosperity codes. We cultivate sacred union within. And we are going on an 11-month journey right now. And you can join at any time. And we started in January, but you have access to all of the recordings, everything that we've already done. You can literally start now and then finish up what you didn't in at the end. You do you. It's a very spirally is that a word? Spirally adventure that you get to go on. And this information will support you for the rest of your life. My intention is that you will be so sovereign. You will trust your body so much. You will increase your capacity to receive. You will not recognize yourself when you look back and you see who you were at the beginning of the journey and who you are at the end. Transformational. So if your body's like, yes, tell me more, go to the show notes. I've got all of the details below. Thank you for listening to this. Go watch the masterclass to learn about your authority. It is so potent and so magical, and you'll start seeing transformation quickly. And if you have any questions about this, if you had any aha moments, DM me. I would love to talk to you. Tag me, share this episode with anyone you think you would benefit from it. And thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.